I'll shut myself. Although, look at my White Sox shirt, huh? All right, Sox starting today at home. Okay, so on the calendar, after you leave, I'm going to do a short 5-minute video on factoring with trig. You have to think of trig like variables, man, and that's really what ends up happening here. So people that were good with factoring that we did for like 3 months last semester, I mean, it did come up almost every week for like 2 or 3 times that idea. You should be fine with this. And actually, in one of my examples, it does come up again, this factoring. But we are going to go around the room. And this is why I wanted to have this in front of you so you don't have to worry about writing down the example. We can just go right into it. Hey, Ali, what's tangent? What over what? Boom shakalaka. I'm trying to get my pen going here. Hopefully it kicks in. I knew this was going to happen. I'm still trying. I wish I had the video with my face. I don't know what's going on. Come on, pen. Come on. We don't have to. Yes. I just hit it on the desk and it worked. Love it. There's nothing I can do. I can't. It's not the battery. It's this thing is just stinks. Hey, then Ali, what's secant? Here, I'll give you a hint. It's 1 over. You just took a quiz on this and you were supposed to fill this out and have it memorized. Yes. Nice. Nice. Hey, Lucas, who cancels? You are correct, and I would hope that you can cancel those like that instead of divide reciprocal. I would hope I could see you just cross that off. If we miss this on the next test, I don't know what I can do, man. I like these quick little quick hitters, like these quick little, let's do one step and one cancellation, and then see that one side does turn into the other. We got a very similar situation with this one. Hey, Antonio, do you think I'm going to do sine cosine stuff or Pythagorean identity? Pick one of those. Pythagorean identity. Okay, I'm going to slide over to this one now and zoom in. What is the Pythagorean identity up? Oh, by the way, I should have asked what's more complicated. It's the left side, right? We have a plus sign. It'd be really tough to turn the right side into the left. It's easier to go big to small than small to big. So what does that become? What's tangent squared plus 1? Oh, no. Who does know? Help him out. Secant squared. Okay, then we're going to go back to you, Antonio, and tell you got to study these. You just literally did this on our formula sheet. What's secant squared over secant? What happens? One word that starts with a C. Cancel. Okay, and then you're left with a secant up at the top. Yet again, this is a quick one little step and then just canceling. I like these. It's nice little warmer uppers. It gets the structure down, blah 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 blah, and then just reminds you that you have to have these memorized, and we can't, if you don't get it memorized, then it's going to keep being tough, and it comes from doing your homework. Yes, Mr. Samus had a bad day. Some classes, 75% of them didn't do their homework. I don't know what I can do, man. All right, Modest. You could do one of two things. First of all, who's complicated, left or right? The left side. Okay, now when you see parentheses, that sometimes means a D word. What's that? Not, yeah, distribute. Or you may or may not have this memorized. Do you know what 1 plus cotangent squared is? Okay, she just helped you out. So we're going to go ahead and give you that. Although you still, when your time comes up, you guys are, oh, you did it? Okay, she's like, she did it. She tattled on you. I'm just kidding. Okay, so Modest, you got to get this memorized. We just had this quiz on this. Oh boy, I did that wrong. But then Modest, we actually had this today. What is cosecant squared? Hold on. It's 1 over, what is cosecant squared? 1 over what? Sine squared. Now, Modest, what's the word that starts with S that happens? I'm sorry, starts with C. What happens with the sine squared and the sine squared on the bottom? They what? They cancel. And then this turns into what we have on the other side. By the way, I said never do that. I said go ahead and do this and then say, oh yeah, 1 equals, sure, 1, check baby, 1, 2, 3. It's perfect. Lucas, where's your sheet? I gave you a note sheet. You're supposed to be taking notes on it. He's just sitting there like fixing his hair and chilling out. And what the? Oh no, Lucas. And then look at the one you ended up with. Lucas, I'm going to help you out here though. Do you remember factoring this? X squared minus 4, a difference of two squares? I'm giving you a hint. Okay, then what is that factor to become? Uh-huh. And then let me just do one more quick thing, because like through the day, 5th hour I did this, then 6th hour I changed it to this. Okay, hold on. Don't panic. What is x to the 4th? Meaning what times what equals x to the 4th? What times itself? No, what times itself equals x to the 4th is what I meant to say. No, x times x is x squared. There you go. This has been tough all day long. I've asked that question all 3 hours, and everyone's like, "Whoa." Isn't that right? So good? Because the reason I want you to understand that is you have to look at trig as my pen just intermittently stopped working. Samuel is fighting his computer. So much fun. This is a difference of two perfect squares. That's why I put the x to the 4th there. Now, I am leaking into this, Lucas, or everyone else, sorry. But that's actually what this is going to be when I do my factoring video. That's a difference of two squares. All right. And you're going to see that. So you have to think of trig as algebra. So what is the perfect square of sine to the 4th, Lucas? So it's going to be a sine squared here. What's the perfect square of cosine to the 4th? And I'm doing this on purpose. What is the sign in between each of these parentheses? Remember the difference of two squares. Plus and minus. And then you remember this? Good FOILers are. Do you remember this? Good FOILers are in my class? What? Good factors. Thanks, Nadia. Good FOILers are good factors. You check real quick, Ali. What's sine squared times sine squared? Sine to the 4th. Boom shakalaka. What's sine squared times negative cosine squared? Hold on. And then positive sine squared times cosine squared. What happens to those two, everybody? They cancel. Minus cosine to the 4th. FOIL foil. So this is true. All right, Nadia, you're up. What's this equal to? You are correct. So the next thing logically that I need to see my students write without any explanation is this. Right below that, just put 1, and then that tells me you logically know sine squared plus cosine squared equals 1. You don't need the highlighting. I was doing that for Nadia. And then also, hold on. Remember, when you're verifying an identity, it's not necessarily, I got to make sure this thing's on even. That'd be hilarious. What a waste of time. What is not on the other side? This is for anybody. What is not on the other side? What do you not see over here that is on the left side? What's the only thing they don't have? Like, what's not there? Cosine squared. So this is telling me, all right, I got to do something about that. I got to somehow change that into a sine squared legally using an identity. Which identity, cosine squared, do you think I'm going to use? Starts with a P. I have no time for this. Pythagorean. So I'm going to verbalize this. If sine squared plus cosine squared equals 1, look at my hands, class. Here's the sine squared. What does cosine squared equal? What do I have to do with the sine squared? I have to what? Say it again. Subtract it. So in blue, I've told you numerous times, not only do you have to know the Pythagorean identities, you have to know how to work with them. Oh, and then by the way, I need parentheses. So I'm subtracting the whole cosine squared. I know that sounds weird, but I have to subtract the whole 1 minus sine squared. So again, that's an alternative form of that Pythagorean identity that better start sinking in. Oh, and then by the way, when you distribute a negative, there's the -1. And then minus minus is plus. Okay, what's x plus x? What's x plus x, everybody? 2x. What's x squared plus x squared? 2x squared. I don't know what other answers I got out there, but sine squared plus sine squared is 2 sine squared. I was waiting for the pen to activate. Never in my life have had a computer work so bad. Oh, I don't know why I put 0 there. I have no idea. Okay, we're looking for 2 sine squared minus 1, and we got it. Boom shakalakers. All right. All right. Got to move on. Okay, so you can always reference this video. You don't necessarily have to watch it, but you can pull to the point of where I was at right now. Nadia, you answered a question, right? Hey, Julia, just like the last one, what does that numerator factor to become? It's a difference of 2 squares again, almost exactly the same with different variables. Secant squared of s. I hate s as a variable. It looks like a 5. And then what else? Perfect. Plus, minus, minus, plus. It doesn't matter which one you work first. And then look what I do with the bottom. Oh, and by the way, I didn't ask the question, but which one's more complicated? Come on. The left side is way more complicated than the right. Are you writing any of these down, Lucas? Now you got the paper out, but you're still taking your little break there. Who cancels? No time. Boom, shakalaka. When binomials are exactly the same, they cancel, right? And it's really just one step. You know what I really wish? Listen, did you know that secant squared minus tangent squared? Someone take a guess. What does that actually equal to? Oh, do you say -1? Darn, remember it's 1 plus tangent squared equals secant squared. If I subtract tangent squared, what am I left with? 1. That's actually equal to 1. This would have been a much better question if it was 1, because then I would have to go to the next step and say this is 1. No time, ma'am. Oh, it's a lottery for the juniors. So it's not Mad Max out there, Fury Road on Monday with a bunch of cars that don't belong. On 72 and 75 in your homework, it gives you the hint foil, simplify, because those are 2 foils. What is this word, though, that starts with a D? What is that word? Distribute. Okay, then I know I'm going to distribute this into this. Start doing 2 steps in 1. So I'm going to hit sine squared times cotangent, but then start changing, because I think you should know at this point that this would be the only way that cotan and sine would mix together if I made cotangent in terms of sine and cosine. And then distribute and distribute, and then do the same thing. It's a minus cosine squared of x, and then tan is sine over cosine. So do 2 steps in once, and I can see this logically that what you're doing is perfectly good. I see your distribution and I see your change of cosine and sine. And then don't forget this is a cotangent squared. Ooh, this one went off the charts here. It ain't no thing. Who's next? Veronica. Oh, Lucas is putting his stuff away. Veronica, what's sine squared plus cosine squared? 1. And I'm going to write that like that. Maybe I would like you to have him reshuffle, but if you kind of underline that and threw that there, that'd be great. And then look at what happens next. Sine squared with a sine cancels. Cosine squared with a cosine cancels. What happens to these two, everybody? They are the exact same thing. Just make sure you understand that. And then guess what 1 plus cotangent squared is equal to, everybody? Cosecant squared, which is what we have right here. See ya. I was over ambitious on this last one. I last minute said, you know what? Maybe I have time. I didn't, so it's not a big deal. Remember, this was just your note sheet. Your homework is the book assignment that's listed on the calendar. You two got away with one. Did you answer a question? No. Did you answer a question? You did. So okay, in a way. Did you? You answered a question too on your own, didn't you? Nice. So I guess everyone did do something.